Is this apology a signal of the breakdown of their relationship? Or is there something more hidden from the public? Why did Jungkook suddenly say words that sounded like deep regret, as if there was a wound that never healed? And why was the ARMY so angry when it heard about it? The emotional outbursts that took place across social media platforms that night were not uncommon. The words, "Sorry, Tae," written by Jungkook through an open broadcast, became the center of world attention. But even more astonishing is not just the apology itself, but the shocking context, tone, and timing of the statement. The world pauses to ask, what really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung? Before that incident, there was no sign that the relationship between the two BTS members was in trouble. But lately, the absence of news about their communication has led to various speculations. Jungkook, who is known to be very private and rarely reveals his feelings in public, suddenly wrote an emotional apology. Not to the public, not to the management, but to the one person who meant the world to him, Kim Taehyung. The apology was uploaded in handwritten form, photographed, and shared through a private platform.
No emojis, no embellishments.
Just 2 simple sentences carried an incredible emotional load. "Sorry, Tae. I couldn't protect you back then." This sentence triggered a storm. ARMY reacts with a variety of emotions: confusion, anger, sadness, and anxiety. They wonder, what does Jungkook mean? Protect from what? What has happened that we do not yet know? Within minutes, Korean media began to speculate. Several major portals raised the possibility that the apology was related to an incident several months ago when rumors of internal pressure against Taehyung surfaced. Taehyung at that time was the target of negative speculation due to his absence from several important company meetings. Some sources say that the decision was not his choice, but the result of the intervention of the management. Jungkook, as his closest friend, likely felt he had failed to defend or voice the truth at the time. But there is something much more surprising. An internal source who did not want to be named stated that during the production process of BTS's secret project last year, there was a serious dispute between the creative team and Taehyung. In important meetings, Taehyung's name is mentioned as marginalized, not given space to express his artistic ideas. And at that moment, Jungkook is said to have chosen silence. Jungkook's silence is now the deep regret that he poured out in those 2 short sentences. The ARMY's anger was not only because they were saddened by the apology, but also because they felt there was an injustice being hidden. They feel betrayed by the system that is supposed to protect all BTS members. Some fans even compiled a chronology of events based on their last public appearance, matching facial expressions, body gestures, and every piece of video that seemed to show there was a hidden tension. And the deeper they dig, the more clues reinforce the suspicion that something very big has indeed happened behind the scenes. A few days after the upload, Japan's largest fan account published a transcript of a conversation from BTS's training session that was never released to the public. During the conversation, Jungkook's voice was heard saying, "If this continues, I'm afraid he's really gone and will regret it forever." It was not said who he was referring to, but fans believe it was Taehyung. The sentence went viral, resurrecting the theory that Taehyung's departure to Paris for 2 months without news may not have been just a personal vacation, but a form of escape from unbearable internal pressure. What makes all this even more tragic is that at the moment, both are serving their mandatory military service and cannot interact directly or explain further to the public. So, the big question resonates. Have the wounds between them really healed? Or is this the beginning of a huge crack that cannot be repaired? Some observers of the South Korean entertainment industry say that this may be the most crucial moment in BTS's history. More than an apology, Jungkook's statement opened a Pandora's box of internal group dynamics, management pressures, and personal conflicts that have been tightly hidden from the public. And what hurts fans the most is the fact that the figure who has been considered the strongest and most cheerful, Jungkook, apparently harbors such deep remorse and guilt. On the other side, the ARMY began to move. They petitioned HYBE to clarify the situation. They also demanded that all members be given equal artistic freedom without pressure or discrimination. Several major influencers even voiced their concerns through reaction videos, calling Jungkook's apology one of the most heartbreaking moments in K-pop history. Even more shocking, the day after the post went viral, Taehyung's personal Instagram account posted a picture of the twilight sky with a short caption, "I see." These two words immediately gave rise to new speculation. Is this Jungkook's reward? Is this a sign that Taehyung has forgiven? Or is this just a signal that Taehyung has chosen to let go of all the weight and step up on his own? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear, the world will never see their relationship the same way again. When questioned, HYB only gave a brief statement that the post was a personal expression that does not represent any official situation in the group. But the ARMY is not satisfied. They considered the statement too normative and actually reinforced the suspicion that there was something to hide. Now, amid the silence of these two great icons far away in a military camp, the world can only wait. Waiting for clarity, waiting for the truth, and most importantly, waiting for their return. In one piece, or rather, as two souls that are no longer in the same direction. The question now is, will this relationship that has been established for more than a decade survive after the storm passes? Will Taehyung return the apology with a warm hug, or will he choose silence as his deepest hurt? And will Jungkook have a chance to fix everything after so long choosing to hold back? One thing is certain, two simple words, sorry, Tae, have opened a new chapter that will be remembered forever in the history of BTS and ARMY. An emotional chapter that is not only about regret, but also about the courage to admit that even the strongest can feel guilty. In the midst of a wave of emotions and strong reactions from various ARMY circles over the viral news titled "Sorry, Tae," which Jungkook supposedly said to Taehyung, one thing now needs to be made very clear. This news is not true. Although the narrative is structured in a dramatic, emotional, and loaded with the element of surprise, the overall information presented does not have a factual basis that can be accounted for. All speculations regarding the fractured relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung, deep feelings of guilt, as well as internal conflicts within BTS's body are fictitious without any concrete evidence from the official side, either from HYB, BTS, or the two figures mentioned. To date, there are no handwritten posts from Jungkook that contain the phrase, "Sorry, Tae." As mentioned at the beginning of the article, there was also no confirmation from any party, either through official social media, live broadcasts, or management statements confirming the existence of such a public apology. In fact, when this issue was raised among the international fan community, not a single credible source from well-known Korean media such as Dispatch, Simpy, Naver, to Yonhap News raised the information as actual facts. This in itself proves that the narrative built in the article is only the result of fanfiction wrapped in a serious news style to mislead readers. Furthermore, the quotes claim to be from inside sources, such as, "If this goes on, I'm afraid he's really gone," and "I can't protect you then," were never recorded or confirmed in any of BTS's rehearsal videos, live broadcasts, or internal session recordings. There is no official or unofficial transcript of the conversation. In fact, the fan accounts referred to as disseminators of information could not be verified. This is a common pattern in the spread of hoaxes among fandom, utilizing fictional accounts, anonymous sources, and visual or textual interpretations that are too far removed from reality. Meanwhile, the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung remains harmonious in various recent documentation before their conscription. Both in the live broadcast together and in the BTS documentary content, there is no apparent tension or conflict that allegedly occurs. The two showed a warm, sincere, and supportive interaction as usual. In fact, before entering the military, Jungkook and Taehyung were seen spending time together outside of official work several times, such as in dinner sessions, recording promotional content, and corporate events. None of these moments indicate any emotional distance, much less a regret or a tragic apology as dramatized in the previous article. It is also important to note that Taehyung's emotional "I understand" never appears in any context that can be attributed to this narrative. The claim that Taehyung posted the Twilight image with the caption is a fabrication that cannot be proven through his official social media archives. This indicates that the imagination has been used freely to build the impression of an internal drama that actually never happened. More dangerous still, articles like this sparked anger and panic among the army. Many fans ended up questioning the integrity of the management, the relationship between the members, and even the future of BTS just because they were fooled by a storyline that was actually fiction. The emotions of the masses also burned, resulting in petitions, condemnation of the hybe, and even an unwarranted boycott campaign. All of this shows how powerful the influence of false information can be when it is packed with convincing and emotional language. Therefore, it is worth remembering that the consumption of information, especially those concerning public figures such as Jungkook and Taehyung, should always be based on official sources and clear verification of facts. Don't let emotional attachment to idols cause us to be easily carried away by narratives that are not necessarily true. In today's digital age, anyone can write in a journalistic style, copy news formats, and utilize viral hashtags to spread personal opinions wrapped up as facts. This is where media literacy becomes very important, especially for a fan base as large as the army.